You may have noticed the gas price dropped 50 cents over the last week. Here's why that's not a good thing. Obviously, all of us are struggling to afford gas prices, and we want the prices to come down, but I promise you want the prices to come down for the right reasons. First off, I don't think it's a coincidence that Congress passes a law, signs through their portion anyways, stating that they are going to allow E15 to be added to your fuel tank year-round. It's pretty interesting how the gas price drops 50 cents after this announcement breaks news, right? Interesting, okay? Now, additionally, this is going to backfire on our fuel reserves in America. And here's why. When you artificially lower the price of an item, meaning you just force the price down, you haven't had an increase in supply, you haven't had a decrease in the cost of inputs, you just force the price down, you are going to experience artificially inflated demand, okay? So through studying economics for my master's degree, which I have studied a ton of, the laws of supply and demand are pretty clear here. When the price goes down, more people buy. Okay, so last week, you might not have been able to afford to fill up your gas tank. But this week, 50 cents cheaper, you're gonna decide to force yourself to fill up, even if you can't really afford it. You are not the only one who's going to do this. People who normally would put a quarter or a half a tank are going to fill up because it's cheaper, and we are going to deplete our fuel reserves more rapidly. Okay? For those of you who don't know what's going on in the Middle East with America, America is at war with Iran, and the Strait of Hormuz has been closed for a few months now. Although America has very large oil reserves, our reserves of refined fuel are much less, okay? We are experiencing the lowest level of fuel reserves that we have had in 2 decades. We are well on the way to having fuel reserve numbers. And let me be clear when I say fuel reserve numbers. I know somebody's gonna be in the comments being like, America has more oil than anyone in the world. I want you to go buy motor oil and pour it in your gas tank and see what happens, okay? We don't need oil, we need gas. And we are running out. There is major economists, okay, people who are advisors to the President of the United States, who estimate by the end of June or early July, we will be in dangerously low levels for our fuel reserves in this country, okay? The reason for this is we cannot get crude oil or partially or fully refined fuel through the Strait of Hormuz whatsoever. That is normally a 2-directional street. We get fuel through, oil comes back, and vice versa. Additionally, the inputs needed to drill and refine oil are being limited. Heavy machinery is struggling to get through the Strait of Hormuz. The chemicals used for refining fuel are struggling to get through the strait. So with that being said, because the government is trying to force the price lower, we are going to watch our fuel reserves deplete more rapidly. Period. End of story. It is basic economics. And once we realize how low our our supply of fuel in America actually is, once we realize we are entering into shortage territory, the price is going to be higher than anything we have ever experienced before, okay? So please share this video with your people so they know what's going on in the world. Prepare yourself, protect yourself, and don't tell nobody about it.
All right, shalom, 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 shalom. I want to start off by giving all the praises, all the glory, and all the honor to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors unto my elders and my apostles, a great millstone, which are the men that rule and taught us His truth. Peace, blessings, and salutations as always be to the elect, all right? And, you know, real quick, I wanted to go in, as you saw at the beginning of this lesson, you know, Jake speaking about the fuel shortages, you know, and I don't really want to get too much into, you know, the political side of it, as far as like, you know, what happened exactly? Well, the reality is that, you know, Esau did already basically give the go to start pumping out E15, which, you know, which means it's going to damage certain vehicles, right? And also, that's why some people's gas prices have gone down, because they already have started bringing out the E15, or just gas with the higher ethanol percentage. Instead of it being 10, it's 15 now for some gas stations, right? So, but more so, I want to speak about what this is going to cause. The fuel shortages. What is the fuel shortage really going to cause? All right, what can it cause? I'll say. All right, because if it's not going to be through the fuel shortages, it's going to be something else, you know. But this is just another road that leads to issues in America. You see, America was told to us, man, through the scriptures, that this place would be plagued as before, And I'm going to go into 2 Esdras 15, but I'm going to start off in Isaiah 19. All right, because all these are, this is the time frame that we're in. This is the season that we're in right now. We're not in, happy-go-lucky mode right now. We're not in a time of peace. Okay, we're not in a time of good things happening right now. Okay, we're in the time of evils. All right, we're in a time frame where the Heavenly Father is going to plague this place. He's going to cause the economy to collapse. The war is not going to let up. All right, the NWO has to begin, man. Esau, well, he's already getting started. You got Kill Gates coming out with other things, so might make a video on what he's doing later. If the Spirit allows. If not today, then tomorrow, Lord willing. But a lot of things are happening right now, man, and this is just another thing that could lead to more civil unrest. Because really, it's gonna happen. These things are gonna happen. Fuel shortages is not something to take lightly. All right, this is how constructions continue. This is how people keep their jobs. A lot of people talk about people not having jobs, and people saying, oh, if you're blue collar, you'll be all right. Nobody's gonna have job security soon, because we might be, for bros that work the blue collar jobs, we might be the last ones to stop working, but even we're gonna stop working at some point. We might work longer than the people in the offices, but shoot, once the fuel shortages get bad enough, we ain't gonna have enough fuel to do what we gotta do. You know what I'm saying? So this is Isaiah 19 and 14. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Right? So Egypt is erring in every single thing that they're doing. All right. More so speaking about right now about the decisions that Donald Trump is making, and with the whole war and being Israel's bitch. That's they're erring. Really, they're following prophecy, but it's an error according to the scriptures, man. All right, they're erring. They're doing wrong by their citizens, man. They're doing wicked things. Okay, they don't care about their citizens. They're stepping on each other. Donald Trump said gas prices and the American people's pockets don't concern me. Those are his words. Those are not my words. That's what he said, right? So Egypt is erring in every work, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Have you ever seen a drunk person, like a about to be blackout drunk person, where they just throwing up? You ever seen a grown man get so loose, he pisses on himself and throws up and just trying to get up, vomit everywhere? It's disgusting. That's America. You just looking like in disgust. Like you're like, oh, this person's sloppy. This is terrible, right? That's America. Right? Verse 15, neither shall there be any work for Egypt which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. Right? So the Lord has promised to plague this place, man, economically. That's an economic plague. There being no work, that means your economy is not booming. That's not a good thing, man. Because you know what happens in America when the economy, or anywhere, when the economy is not doing good, crime goes up. Hey, and America is a heavily armed society. Even in them states where, guns are illegal, America is still a very armed society. Okay? So, this place you gotta imagine it. Imagine an area with high crime, right? Imagine all America being like that. You know what I'm saying? All America being like, these major cities. All America being like New York City. Shoot, imagine this whole America being like Detroit. Detroit's wild. That Midwest high crime ain't the same as these big city high crimes. You know what I'm saying? So, it says that neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. And that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and they shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. Right? Meaning that this place is the plagues on this place are gonna be so bad, all right, that this place, even the men, man, the scriptures say the strong men shall bow themselves in the day of the Lord. So when America starts to really get plagued and starts to really be destroyed, man, and from within first, before it gets physically decimated, all right, hey, man, this is gonna be a scary place to be in. Not for us, the believers, man. The Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, is going to be with us. Okay? But all these things that you see happening now are going to play a part in this plague, in these plagues, in the lack of, you know, in the bad economy, in the economic collapse, you know, when the pestilences get released, you know, this place is going to, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be like when Jake, if you ever seen them videos of people getting jumped, that's what America's going to be like, just straight L's. You know, 5 people on one dude, you know, beating their ass. That's what America's going to be, because it's going to get hit with the famine, pestilences. You know what I'm saying? The economic collapse. All right? High crime. You know, people killing each other with the sword. That's what leads me to 2 Ezra 15. But I'm going to start at verse 11. All right? Just real quick, because, hey, these fuel shortages, you know, you can ask AI. I might do a lesson later where, you know, when I'm actually at the house. Right now I'm on my lunch break. I just wanted to make this quick lesson and get it up, man, through the Spirit. But I might ask AI, what can fuel shortages lead to, just to get into more detail. You can do it on your own time, you know. Go and look up what can fuel shortages lead to, because like the dude was saying in the video, because people are kind of ignorant, man. You know, oh yeah, but we have tons of oil, right, bro? We don't have actual, like, we have the reserves of it, right? But we don't have, you know, gasoline, bro. You know what I mean? Like the dude was going into. I don't want to say too much because I don't know too much about it myself. You know, I do my little research, you know, before I speak on things, before I just start yapping, you know. But yeah, man, America, you know, once the fuel shortages start happening here, man, that's not going to be good, because the majority of America, see, because out in Europe and shit, you know, they got a lot of good public transportation, because, you know, their countries are a lot smaller, their cities are a lot more compact, and, you know, people have ways to maneuver over there. That's why their gas is so high, right? Well, in America, the majority of America is driving states, you know? The majority of, especially if you, in America, 9 times out of 10, you're driving. You know, the majority of America is a commuter, is commuter city. We have, even our metropolitan cities, a lot of them are still mostly car-based. You know, I know where I live at, the only people that take public transportation are people that work in government, you know, and have them type jobs. Everybody else, we driving, you know, and I live in an area with really good public transportation, you know. But yeah, man, the majority of American cities is driving. So us being hit with fuel shortages is gonna make our economy take a huge hit. You know, because, hey, I'm going to tell you this. If gas starts hitting, shit, I drive a pickup. If gas starts hitting crazy prices, I ain't going to go to work no more, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to just send up a prayer to the Lord like, yo, I can't afford it. I'm going to send up some prayers, man. I'm going to figure something else out. I ain't going to get up and go to work. And imagine, you know, everybody saying that. Shit, companies would go bankrupt, you know? Shit, hey, the biggest one. Imagine your diesel prices get too high. Now your big wheelers can't take, your 18-wheelers can't bring food. You know? Because, hey, if for my brothers that wake up, man, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to go to work, that's what you see mainly on the highways. You see them big wheelers, the 18-wheelers delivering goods, man. Once that happens, what are you people going to do when there's no more food in the grocery store because the fuel was too high, so the companies can't afford to ship anything anymore? You know? It's too much of a profit loss to ship anything. They're not going to give a shit about the greater good of the people. They're like, I ain't making no money, so F them. All right? That's why this matters. That's what this is going to cause. It's going to cause food shortages. See, a fuel shortage isn't just a fuel shortage. You know? Because it's one thing for it to be high, shit, but imagine how much more when there's a fuel shortage. This is 2 Ezra 15:11. I didn't want to just keep talking, Salakia. But it says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. So the Heavenly Father is going to plague this place as before and destroy all the land. Go and read about the plagues Egypt had. This one is supposed to trump that. And ancient Egypt was scary bad. So much so that the surrounding nations and countries was like, yo, did you hear about what the Lord did for the Israelites? You know? People knew about us. That's what, and we know that through the scriptures when what's it called? Oh, we got to Jericho, you know? They were saying, oh, we heard about what happened out in Egypt, what the Lord did to Egypt. Okay? Verse 12, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. So Egypt is going to be mourning. It's going to be in a low state. And the foundation of it shall be smitten. If you once you strike the foundation, it's over. Right? With the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn for their seeds. Excuse me, there's a semicolon. They shall till the ground. Excuse me, they that till the ground shall mourn, Salakia, right? For their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with the fearful constellation, which we know that's going to happen too. You know, you Kill Gates buying up all the farmland. Hey, Kill Gates is creating, what's it called? He's creating these bugs, all right, that once they bite you, they make you allergic to meat, so that you can stop eating meat. And this whole carbon thing, but I don't want to get into that because that's not what this video is about. But this devil, these are the things that he is doing. You know what I'm saying? He wants you to stop eating meat. He wants you to stop breathing and farting so much because it releases too much carbon. He wants to kill you. Okay? So, what are they going to do? They're going to plague everybody. They're going to, you know? They're trying to kill mass amounts of people to get rid of you. Alright? So, it says, because they that till the ground shall mourn. Hey, man. Shit, all these data centers too, ruining people's living situations, polluting Jake neighborhoods. You know, even though it's talking about the actual land. All right, but this is all a part of it. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Which, you know, the modern day sword is a gun. Man, I could see it now, man. You know. These metropolitan cities are going to get locked down, become police states, and then the countryside is going to become like the Wild West, you know? Like back then, okay? That's what it's going to be like, man. It's going to be insane, man. Like, really, like, man, I've had dreams. I done forgot to make a lesson on it, but I remember my woman had a dream about it, man. You know, basically, you know, wherever Esau couldn't lock up, because he can't lock up the whole America. America's too big. He likes to make it seem like he has full control of everything, but Esau only has control of these major metropolitan cities, man. He can't control the whole, man. Man, after visiting the Western Hemisphere or the Western part of America, you realize how big America truly is, and Esau ain't got it, man. He's not the Most High, man. You know, these areas are these land masses of America are huge. America itself is gigantic, man. Esau doesn't have full control of it. He's going to try, but he's going to lock up the major cities, man. And what? It says that one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords are in their hands, because of the, it's going to say it. It doesn't matter, man. I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but, you know, for the lack of bread, they're going to be killing each other. For the lack of clean water, they're going to be killing each other, man. That's just what the time frame that we're in, man. That's why I've been, you know, making videos, exhortations, man. Get your mind right, because at some point, you know, it's going to be survival of the fittest. Obviously, you know, we're going to have the Spirit of the Lord guiding us, so we'll be fine. But you know, you got to keep that in mind, man, especially for you men out there, man, that's believers, man, that have wives and kids, you know. Hey, man, pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushai for the strength. I know I've been praying for the strength, man, to be able to take care of my own in that time, man. You know, because it ain't a joke, man. It's gonna get very ugly out here. Okay? Because, yeah, people going to stand up and fight against each other, man. People going to stand up, kill each other. It says, for there shall be sedition or civil uprising among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power, right? They're not going to regard authority. They're going to do what they want to do. Because when these fuel shortages hit, and the NWO, I talked about the flock cameras. They're going to be trying to track everybody down, you know, social credit systems. When all these things happen, people are going to lose it. A lot of these, and the Elder Yashua mentioned it too, man. A lot of you Jakes, man, are so asleep. Hey, these Edomites, these average Edomites are more outraged than Jake, because they realize their rights are being stripped. Jake just moseying along and making jokes, still talking about basketball, which ain't nothing wrong with it. But that's all they care about. They ain't worried about nothing else. You know what I'm saying? I know at my job, these niggas ain't on shit. You mentioned this, that's a conspiracy theory. You know, I don't mention it to them, though, but I'm just saying, you know, when I have in the past, they just, that's just a conspiracy, brother. You know? But, shoot, man, it's going to be bad, man. All right, people are not gonna regard, you know, the authority figures. They're gonna say, you think I give a shit that you a sheriff? I'm starving. F you. Then take their ass out. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's martial law. Hey man, because when fuel shortages happen, who's gonna have? You think Esau is gonna drain up his fuel shortages on the people? Hell no. By the time we're running out of fuel, where we can't go to the gas station no more, it's because that mother effer took all that. You know, and I'm trying to watch the language. You know, that guy, this damn devil man, he has these things hoarded up to himself, man. Hey, if we're running out of fuel, there's definitely fuel left. It's just this guy's hiding the rest of it for himself, for his police and shit. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. And these are things that we can't just, you know, breeze past and not think about it. You have to really sit there and think about it. You know, think about your neighbors right now that you don't talk to. I know me. I live in an area where the majority of people are not from here. They're from out of town. They're from up north. You know, so they don't really say hi to their neighbors. The way I grew up, I knew all my neighbors. I knew them. I knew all our families knew each other. All right. But these new guys, these people from up north that come down here and shit, you know, and from other weird areas, other countries and shit, they don't say hi to their neighbors. Imagine your neighbors right now, you know, and everybody's outside, right? Everybody's outside like, yo, you know, hey, shit's fucked up, man. I ain't going to work. You know, pardon my language, but, you know, I ain't going to work, man. Shoot, we got to do something about this, you know? Or people out there looking, or your neighbors trying to break into your house to see what you got, to see if you have clean water, clean drinking water and food. Think about that. A neighbor, because you ain't talking to their ass. You don't know their name. You just see the dude that you walk past for 5 years is trying to break in your house, trying to kill you. You know? You got to really visualize these things. These evils are really going to happen. Hey, man, soon we're going to be at the point where we're like, shit, man, at one point, this is just what we were talking about. We're living it. It's reality. You know, these scriptures are real. You know? Hey, when these things happen, man, hey, may the Lord be with us. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So we're heading into that time right now, man. We're close. It may not be today or tomorrow or in the next few months, you know? But soon, shoot, it could be the next few months for all we know, but soon, hey, these things is going to happen, man. People are going to be killing each other. Think about it. These people bug out over little things. How much more when things are really tight? You know? But hey, that's all I wanted to bring out real quick, man. Kol Halol, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, double honors to my elders and apostles of great millstone, which are the men that rule well and taught us his truth. Peace, blessings, and salutations to you like this always, man. Shalom.